everyone, and welcome to ComplexLand, the Culture of Esports panel. My name is Erin Ashley Simon, and so we're going to dive into the world of esports. Esports is a billion-dollar industry combining music, culture, and lifestyle. It's bringing more people together than ever before. Players from all over the world log millions of hours on games like League of Legends, Valorant, Dota, and Call of Duty. So to make some dollars and cents of all this, I'm joined by T-Pain, three-time NBA dunk champion Kane Robinson, founder of Sugar Gamers Keisha Howard, as well as NBA player and someone who's very much involved in the esports and streaming world, Josh Hart. Now, before we get into the nitty and gritty of just the business side of culture of esports, let's talk about your guys' beginnings. Let's start off with what brought you into the actual world of esports and gaming, starting with T-Pain.
Oh man, I have sort of a unique story with that. So the guy Tobias Sherman that started esports and really brought it to the forefront, him and I used to own a strip club together. So
strip club and video games, let's go. That's like my two favorite things.
So we used to, so that came about. But no, I was always a gamer. I've been a gamer since Battletoads and anything Sega. You know what I'm saying? Like Lion King, all that. I've been a gamer since the beginning. So really, it all came about for me. When my manager started seeing me play games every day. Every time I get a chance, even when I'd show up to the venue, I'll set up. You know what I'm saying? I'm setting up the stream. Or setting up to just play games in the dressing room and stuff like that. But obviously it's my manager, so I'm paying him to see every opportunity possible. And he's like, man, do people know you play games as much? I was like, well, it's kind of like my free time thing, so I try not to do this in front of people. He was like, well, you can make money from it? I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about that now, because that's something. So I think it's around 2013 we started, talking to Twitch and talking to different organizations and different stuff like that. And then it all came back around where I found out when my homie got out of the strip club business, he got into the esports business, and he's kind of one of the founders of it. So, I really got into it from strip club.
Hey man, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed, bro.
No, I'm just saying it out loud. Saying it out loud, it hit different saying it out loud.
You can go to strip club and Grand Theft Auto. So
Sure
that culture is very
Big
much
fat.
ingrained in video games. Now, the other culture that two of you are part of, Nate and Josh, is the basketball culture. That's obviously a big culture when it comes to gaming as a whole. But for you guys, did you start off with playing basketball games or 2K, or was there another game or console that really introduced you to the world of gaming and esports? Nate first, and then Josh second.
For me, growing up, playing Tecmo Bowl as a kid, starting off with Nintendo and Sega and just all the arcade games. I've been a gamer, my whole life. And for me, I played basketball games kinda, but I was more of a football type of guy, when I first started in my career. So football games were everything to me, and I just couldn't stop playing them. Then the cool games like Mortal Kombat and Killer Instincts and all the other games started to pop up, and I was like, wow, like you can play Street Fighter and all these different games against some of the best players in the world. It's like, how can you not be an e-gamer? So it just made it easy to cross over and and do some of the fun things that like we love to do now.
Yeah, honestly, a little bit of the same. Honestly, I hate basketball games. I hate NBA. I hate live.
Hey, I'm telling you,
like it's not realistic. You can ask Nate. It's not realistic at all. It's so hard to get people's movements down.
yeah.
So I don't play it, and I'll probably shoot like 50 shots, and they're gonna have me at like a 75 overall. I'll be missing.
They do be hoeing on the radio.
Yeah, so I'll try to save myself the frustration. But I started with football. I was playing Nintendo 64, Madden 99, Brett Favre cover.
Right.
That's kind of where I started, and then it was just always Madden after that. Madden 04 with Mike Vick on the cover, using him as a cheat code. And that just really fueled my passion for gaming. And then I really started gaming and streaming, doing all that. My rookie year when I broke my hand, I couldn't play basketball. I couldn't, go out there. So I had to do something else that was competitive. So I would play Madden, FIFA, Fortnite, and I just started streaming it. My brother was like, yo, it'd be cool. No one's seeing you right now because you at the crib, you ain't playing in Staples. So do something just to kind of be out there and be seen. And I just started gaming and just took my passion to another level.
How much does the community, the NBA community, care about the 2K ratings?
Oh my God, that's a real thing. Like that's a real thing because you might get slapped with a rating. Like I remember when I was playing, they would have I'm like, why is my jumping not 99? I'm the highest jumping player in the NBA. Why am I not? I should be jumping from the 3-point line. Like that's how I want my video game player to be. I should be dunking on everybody, whenever, however, and it just never was that. And I was like, man, that's why I stopped playing like NBA 2K. I was like, man, this ain't real. Like he said, it has to be realistic. It wasn't realistic enough for me. But thank God that they put the park and have your my player. I think that's the coolest thing about the 2K and about the game, because it's actually like you get to create your player how you want. And I think that's like giving us the freedom, to create our player the way we want. Is pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, customization is actually like a very, very big point now, especially when we talk about representation within video games. Now they're allowing you to play and be whoever you want to be in these different titles. And cool. Keisha, I know for you, what you do, especially on the gaming side and the tech side, it's very much about representation and creating these opportunities and spaces, whether it's via VR, AR, to bring more individuals into the gaming space in various different ways. But how did you bring yourself into the esports and tech and gaming space as a young woman?
Oh man, well, going back to what T-Pain was just saying about older brothers.
Let it go.
Not quite. Ain't nothing wrong with the strippers, but I don't know if I had those kind of skills. I can't multitask. I was going back to the older brother part, and when he got bored, he made me play Street Fighter with him, and only so he could beat me, and I hated it. And there was only one or two girls. No, it was only one girl in Street Fighter 2, and that was Chun-Li. Yeah. And he would always. I was trash at Chun-Li, and one day he went somewhere, and I never played without him. And then I just practiced all day with Vega, beat his ass. It just felt good. It felt so amazing. And that feeling just never left me. I was just like, I can play games, I can compete at games, I can make games that people can compete in, I can control the metaverse. And then here I am.
How do you see the influence of pop culture and lifestyle changing the esports and gaming industry even more than what it has already?
I mean, the reason why pop culture is now geek culture is because all these things that we go through, these segments of time where things are popular, they stop being popular. We need new ideas. We need fresh approaches. We need new perspectives. And the sort of community of people that usually has that is the hip hop community, Black people, people of color, people who have to be creative and resourceful to move ahead. So you can't just be status quo, you have to be extraordinary in order to be successful in this space. So I think that, now that we're looking at new ways to engage with people and new ways to play games, that of course these communities of creators are going to definitely be tapped into and hopefully not exploited this time.
Cheer, right?
That's teed up.
Yeah, he was ready to go. He wrote that down earlier.
No, T-Pain, you might as well go. You jumped right after that one.
Waiting on this question. I feel like we've been sprinkled in the industry for a very long time, and it took a while for it not to be to an extreme to where like, okay guys, look, we're including you, okay. You see it. We got, even on Street Fighter, we put the Jamaican dude in there. Isn't that, don't you guys like Jamaican people?
No,
it took them a while to put the Jamaican dude in there. First of all,
wow, like you got to think how the culture has been sprinkled in the gaming industry over the years. We had Parappa the Rapper, like, you know what I'm saying. We had I don't know why this game isn't on part 12 by now, but Def Jam. The Fight for New York and Def Jam Vendetta and stuff like that, the way we've been sprinkled over the years, and Toe Jam and Earl when they dress like rappers, stuff like that, like, we always tried to sprinkle ourselves in there, but it never really caught on and stuck. And even if it did, everything I've been hearing from these different companies, like even people like Activision, like the reason they say they won't make a hip-hop version of like Guitar Hero and stuff like that is because
they don't want to cut the check, bro.
It's too much to deal with artists and labels. Like they said, they done dealing with all that, so they had to really cut down on even dealing with the rock and roll stuff and even pop and alternative stuff like that, because they said it was too difficult to deal with the music industry. So we kind of started getting cut out of those things because labels started getting a little check hungry. Instead of,
I told you,
instead of getting their artists opportunities, they kind of started asking for bigger and bigger checks, and the gaming industry was like, well, we haven't made that much off of you. So I think we've been sprinkled so much within the thing. Like even after things like Guitar Hero, then they tried to make DJ Hero, which was more towards the hip hop generation and the genre and stuff, but that went away quicker than Guitar Hero. Like, and we, I don't think we as a culture and hip hop and things like that, I don't think we push the narrative enough. We like playing games so much that we want to be on the other side. You know what I'm saying? We just want to be the player. We never want to be the creators and push these things to where, we have a staple in this industry. And I think that's so more important than what we realize, and it's more the reason why we're having this conversation right now.
There's been a lot of hit or misses when it comes to the DMCA crackdowns, and T-Pain. I know, was that, you like that transition?
That was nice.
T-Pain, with you've been releasing the Pizzle Pack. Of course, you have like your disclaimer, like you guys can use it, but don't be making music off of it.
Yeah.
But with you dropped Pizzle Pack 1. I believe you also recently just dropped Pizzle Pack 2.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've been in the music industry for a while now.
For sure.
Can you educate the viewers when it comes to the DMCAs, and also where do you see opportunities when it comes to like music producers and just music building a better relationship with streamers? Because right now the music industry is just not having that relationship with Twitch. And we can't control that, but we can control what we can do, like what you did with your Pizzle Pack.
For sure.
Can you break that down, as well as discuss kind of like how can music producers and music artists, independent, get more involved and build that better relationship with streamers?
Absolutely. I mean, the first thing that I would say is also, what Josh brought up earlier, is don't try to look for the immediate bag. The bag is going to come later, and it may not come in the form of money. It may not come in the form of profit. It may come in the form of opportunities that have a bag attached to it. You know what I'm saying? Like the attention that I got from the Pizzle Pack, because, all these record labels got together and basically said, y'all can't play our music unless you're paying for it. And the bigger problem is that people have paid for it. Like, I'm playing this from I paid for this. I have the license for this. So, we can't use their things, but it's about the artists and the producers coming together and saying, bro, these people are suffering because everything is awkward as shit with no music. And we just, that's what made me feel, because, I stream too. And if I can't have music, I can't play my own shit in my background. I got to make new stuff. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure, everybody else has this opportunity. I don't want to be like, boo-boo, I can make my own shit and nobody else can use it. So I made 169 beats that any streamer can use in the background of your stream. As long as you don't come out with a mixtape that's 169 tracks long, you'll be fine. But it's so weird that they're coming at this situation now to say we can't use music from certain and particular artists. because this is the time that you would make the most noise, letting people do that. This is when the most streamers, I've never seen so many people streaming at the same time in my life. Everybody's streaming every day. Most people have like 3 days a week on their schedule on Twitch. Now everybody's every day, every single day, 7 hours at a time. People doing 24-hour streams. I've never seen this happen like this. So now would be the time, if you're looking for a bag, this would be the time to capitalize on it. But like I said, you can't look for the immediate bag. All these things are free. Everything I release for Twitch is free. And from that, the popularity of the Pizzle Pack has gotten me calls from all kind of people, just super crazy companies, Google, Twitch, having me host their after party for GlitchCon, and all these other cons are trying to get me in these other places. And it's so many companies I can't even talk about right now. It's a Trident.
That's a good thing, bro. That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying? Trident and Ruffles and Candy Crush and all, 7-Eleven and all these. I mean, there's so many people calling me just from the popularity of that, and those are the bags that I'm getting. But I'm still providing the community with something that was desperately needed, something that was taken away from them, that it was already happening. And I just feel like they're trying to come up with something that they can make money off of this, but all they have to do is just let it happen.
We need a universal game that what we can control.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
For sure.
Like it shows now, especially with everything going on now, like we're at home, we can't go places and do things. This would be the perfect time
Absolutely.
to jump in and start somebody that can create their own, like our own type of video game that we all love to play.
For sure.
I'm still waiting on that. That'd be awesome. And I couldn't imagine myself being a Street Fighter.
Well, speaking
That'd
of
be
fighting
so
games,
fire.
like, I mean, I would say in terms of the relationship that fighting games have with hip hop and pop culture, one of the titles that actually has the closest relationship is Mortal Kombat. And we're seeing with so
love that
many,
game.
whether it's via music with 21 Savage, or whether it's even like Megan Thee Stallion, like it would be cool if they were actually able to have hip hop artists as DLC mashups with Mortal Kombat characters. Because that Melina costume she had on, that ish was fire. Like,
No,
could you imagine?
that needs to be done. That needs to be
Big
done.
time.
I couldn't imagine like low key picking somebody, not to just randomly just throw, Michael Jackson's name like that, but just somebody like Michael Jackson and pick him as a character and just think of the moves that you can do with like that'll be fire. People will be so in tune to that. That'd be lit.
That's what I'm saying though. We really had our own. Like we had the Def Jam games. And anytime I talk to anybody from Def Jam about like, yo, we gotta remake that. If you talk to Method Man, like, bro, can you talk to somebody? We gotta make that with new artists. We gotta, and do that. We had our own Mortal Kombat. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it was really our culture, but we didn't push it further enough. And everybody was just like,
I would definitely play a hip hop combat game.
for sure.
That'd be lit. I'm playing that for sure.
These people left Def Jam, so we can't do it no more. These people got the licenses. These people over there own this. These two people don't mess with each other no more. These like, come on, bro.
That's tough.
There's so many ways to get this going. We literally had our own Mortal Kombat. And
we gotta figure it out.
The music industry is always like 10 steps behind. We've seen that historically in so many ways. Even when it came to the initial music licensing in video games, it took them forever to even get to that point.
For sure.
But let's talk also about sports and how they've culturally have been able to kind of integrate themselves into gaming. Josh, for you, where have you seen sports do well in terms of integrating like NBA players into this gaming culture? But also, where do you feel like it could be better? Because we heard from the music side, but what about the sports side?
Yeah, I mean, they've done, especially 2K, they've done an amazing job with, now you have kind of like the My Player, and they kind of have it somewhat realistic. It's not really that too realistic, but like somewhat realistic of like you be able to create your own player. You go to college, go through the draft process, and you do all those things. And I think like Zion's one of the big guys that's doing it now with them. It's kind of like a walking life of like what it's like to be Zion Williamson and stuff like that. So they're able to grab other people and put them in the game, and not just like, all right, go out there and play basketball, but it's like, we're able to take everything else on the outside of it, because everyone sees us play basketball, and that and that's cool and that's something, but they're giving a more in-depth look of what it's like to be, the life of a Josh Hart or a Zion or I mean, I don't know if you can really replicate bronze yet, but you know, that's what they're doing. They're doing an amazing job with it just because they're so hands-on. They listen to us, you know, so much, and we have a lot of input in 2K. So they've been doing a really good job. I know other sports games like Madden have been doing amazing job with doing just collaborations with, you know, like John Geiger has a really dope streetwear brand, and his, you know, streetwear kicks are as cleats in the game. So a lot of those companies are really starting to use athletes in a different light of just how they perform off the court, and using those collabs to get brands in their game and make it kind of more relatable to, you know, to the demographic that they're trying to reach.
And with reaching the demographic, we're seeing a lot of brands that are trying to do that within gaming, and some do well and some are could do better. Keisha, you've been working with brands for different activations, and one of them, for example, was Adidas that you were doing, I believe, in Chicago, correct? So where are you noticing areas of opportunities that these brands could really connect with the community, but do it in a way that's authentic? I think that when people look at the game community, it's like, oh, it's young kids, numbers, all that stuff, but they don't understand that a lot of the gaming esports industry initiated from grassroots events, grassroots companies, and built themselves up to it. And it's a very protective community. Where do you see that this brand integration when it comes to the business of culture in gaming and esports, where do you see it's done well, and where do you see some areas of opportunities?
Well, authenticity is one of those things. It's a buzzword, it flies around, everyone's like, oh, you gotta be authentic. But what companies really do is that they look at data. And this data tells them if they're going to get a return on their investment. So they look at certain demographics of people, and then they're just like, all right, we're going to invest in this particular community so we can get our money back, right? But for decades, the gaming community has relied on data that hasn't been inclusive of people of color or of women or of many, many different identities that are consumers of the gaming industry. And now we're on social media and we're talking about it. We're like, hey, you know, we're buying these games. We're making these companies rich. If you're going to be here and you're going to be authentic, you're going to spend the money and spend the time to get to know the individual communities that are part of each of these games that you want to slap your brand on. It's not going to be a data thing. We have to create new data sets that are inclusive of the different types of people that are in the gaming industry.
Amen,
I agree.
I definitely got a brand that I'm trying to get into 2K. I'm trying to hold that brand. If you guys are watching, hold that clothing. I'm trying to get my basketball brand in 2K. I've been bugging Ronnie for August. I know he's tired of me, but I'm definitely trying to push that. I mean, how cool would it be not just to be in the game, but to see your own brand inside the game, and fans that, you know, that rock with you will want to, you know, have their player wearing your stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna say, brands just need to spend the time to get to know the communities that they want to be a part of, and it's not going to be a data set that is going to ensure their return on their investment. Like, that's not the way this is going to work. Gaming evolves way too fast. We know this. We're smart. We're not, you know, trying to get sold to when the video game industry just costs so much and takes so much investment to be a part of.
Damn it, Keisha for president. God damn it. That was my vote. Goddamn vote. I knew I should have held that vote. That's what I'm talking about.
When it comes to creating this product that we can integrate where it's more inclusive, where do we even start, right? Because we could say, okay, we could start with the Black community, we could start with this community, but how do we create it where it's an all-inclusive kind of data or all-inclusive space? Where do we even tap into first? Because there's a lot of problems in the esports gaming space, as well as there's a lot of great things that happen. We still have so much to build on. Is there anyone of you want to start with that? Because I know this is a very complex question, but I'm very curious to get you guys' insights on it.
Well, I'll say this really quick because T-Pain brought it up. Basically making our own games. You can't be what you can't see, right? But Unity and Unreal has free classes, free software, and like, yes, you do need a certain level of computer equipment, but we are already spending that money on various things that we want. You know, we're spending that money on PlayStation 5s and Xbox, you know, like the newest, latest, and greatest to keep up with, you know, what an influencer is in the video game space. But if we took that same passion for being an influencer and being seen online to educating ourselves with the free education that is available to us so we can make our own games and have no excuses as to why we aren't included, it would change the game. But a lot of us, we're not talking about those resources. We're talking about all the things. We're talking about aspirational consumerism, which can be very toxic. Because just like you said, Erin, you know, our community, you know, they want to tap into us and put our face on things because we make things cool. But, you know, they're not trying to.
Never want to pay us for it.
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't never want to pay us for it.
Yes. And so,
facts.
you know, we're sitting here like, why ain't we part of League of Legends with the headsets and the PCs and the gaming and all this other stuff? So I think that, you know, just to begin, the software and the hardware used to make games, we should invest in that and make our own, because the software that is available to do so is actually free. Unity and Unreal are making tremendous efforts to really fill that skills gap with people who know how to design within that software. So education of all ages, anytime, like the University of Google, I used to say that before University of Google was actually a real thing. But like, you know,
ideas will be popping up.
We need to, you know, change what celebrity looks like too. And if we can just, you know, not that anything that we're doing right now is wrong, but include people who are innovating and learning and contributing, you know, actual games and ideas to the space. It is so difficult, but yet so impressive when you see people make these indie games, to have a story, to put music, to make the game engaging, to design characters, to design, you know, to understand gaming mechanics. That should be highlighted and celebrated, especially when it's people that you don't normally see represented in this space. Like, it's sad to me when I go and in the before times when I used to be in schools, and like little boys would be like, I want to be a pro gamer like you. And I'm like, first, I'm not a pro gamer, I'm trash. Like, don't be thinking that.
Right.
And second, it sounds very reminiscent to when young kids used to be like, oh, I want to be a basketball player when I grow up. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, but being educated on all the different facets of what the basketball industry is made out of is so much more helpful to that young person. But for people of color especially, we're only sold one flavor of the dream that we can have. We don't see our own Elon Musk and our own Richard Bransons and our own, you know, Tim Cooks and our own Bill Gates. We see our entertainers, we see our athletes, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trashing that. I'm just saying we need to also include people who are learning, educating themselves, you know, and contributing in an innovative way.
And that's another part of it, to where the support for those things really not only come in handy, but let me tell you, it's more important. These friend circles, when you get around these people, when you tell them that, look, I want to be a programmer, bro, I think I'm about to start learning code. And then you got that one or two friends that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You
tripping, bro.
Right, you know what I'm saying? We get these ideas shot down and like, bro, I'm literally coming to you and expressing to you, and I want to better my life. I think I got a higher calling. I think I can do that game we playing, bro. I think I can make that. I feel like I can make that.
Man, listen, if you can do it, bro. Like, don't
you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of people you need around you, and people need to change their friend circles. And you know, we have these groups, and you know, these organizations that what's that one? Black Girls Code, Girls Can Code, and we have these organizations that really promote these thoughts and uplift those thoughts, instead of saying, I understand what you want to do, but we got rapping and basketball. You got to pick one of those.
And those were also
Hey, like they said back in the day, you either game or you play ball, or you
Right.
be like me,
So-
I got to stay clean.
Right. So it's like we're always on the other side of it. But when we try to advance and when we try to get on these other sides, we have these people that have been programmed to shut each other down. I can't make my own shoe without somebody saying, bro, that ain't a Jordan though. And I'm like, but
Facts.
when Jordan first made the Jordan, it wasn't anything.
It wasn't a Jordan, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't when
Exactly.
Adidas first
It takes
started.
time.
It wasn't the thing. Like, bro, support me and maybe we can be as big as like if we get up there.
Yeah.
You're not gonna buy my shirts.
I feel that because that's why I started my brand. When people told me I couldn't do it, I was
Exactly.
like,
You're
you
not
know
gonna
what?
buy
I'm
my
gonna start mine
$15
regardless.
shirt, but you'll pay $300 for a Supreme white tee. Cool.
Exactly.
I mean,
I had to
the
get the
Supreme-
perspective, bro.
Supreme
Put them in
bricks.
perspective.
People are buying spending hundreds of dollars on a Supreme brick and a Supreme MTA card, and like,
But won't buy a
I'm not-
$30 shirt from your own brand.
Right.
Yeah.
You better get an
Crazy.
NVIDIA graphics card.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Just
Hey,
like
I go
your
through
own
it.
stuff.
See, but I go through it all the time. Trust me, bro. People
Yeah,
say, "Man,
it's-
send me that." I'm like, "Bro, you just went to
Send
Louis
you
Vuitton and bought
what?
10 bands, spent 10 bands at Louis Vuitton, and won't
I
spend
just saw you
$200 with my brand." Like that's crazy, bro.
I
But
just saw
what's
what you
the other
got from
side
Brett.
of it as well? I want to talk about the other side of it because I feel like this is a side that we don't talk about enough, especially in gaming esports, is the investment side, right? It's about ownership. It's not just about getting a check, which I feel like hip hop, music, sports, black community, that culture is all about getting a bag, but it's all about short term, not long term generational wealth. And Josh, you're someone who's invested in various different companies. And for you, one, how do you define culture currency? Because that is something that we don't own as much, the value of our culture. And two, how do you go about determining investments and ownership? What is that process like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't think a lot of times we value, we know what we bring to the table. Like if you look at some of the esports brands, like for example, I'm an investor in FaZe Clan, and if you look at a lot of stuff that FaZe Clan is doing, a lot of their streetwear that they're doing, stuff that they're doing, like it's popping because that's what we do, and we're bringing that to them, and they're using it, and we don't fully understand that we're bringing that to the table. So I think that's the first part of it. And then just kind of when it goes to the investing side, my first year, I was in LA. I was like, I just want to get a bag. This is my first year out of college. I gotta get my money up. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And and then after my first year, that thought process kind of changed. It was like, all right, I don't need to do a quick appearance for X amount of money where I can sit there and might have to pass on that or pass on something else for a bigger picture, so I can invest in the brand, so I can get equity in the brand. And then instead of me getting X amount of money right now, that brand sells in 10 years, I get a bigger bag, and my kids are good, or my kids are good. I think that's the thing you talked about. In our culture, we and it's hard because you have everyone, hoopers, football players, rappers, everyone got ice, everyone got designer stuff, everyone got all that. So it's hard to not want that or idolize it because you always see, your idols, having those kind of things. But then you have to just change that mindset of, how can I not spend 20 bands on a chain and say, all right, let me put that 20 to a FaZe Clan or 100 Thieves or a Play Versus or a different kind of gaming organization where you might not see the immediate return, but in 5-10 years down the line, the back end looking crazy, and then you're sitting there like, I ain't spent 20. I wanted to get that chain, I ain't do it. And then 5 years down the line, you get 20 fucking chains. Yeah. So that's the thought process. A lot of people got to switch. It's like, it's not just about a quick bag. It's about, turning down this 20K for, 200, in the back end.
For sure.
Yeah. And Nate,
they think about now instead of thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's longevity. But yeah.
And it's hard too because you got to look. For most of us here, we don't come from wealthy background, so it's like sometimes it's our first time getting money. So it's like when I was in LA, that was my first time, getting money, being able to buy stuff. So I was like, I mean, especially in LA too. LA is a
Oh my
piece of
God.
shit. Like everyone got a nice crib, they got a car, they got the design. Everyone's talking nice. So like, I come out there my rookie year. I'm like, I gotta get some shit. I gotta get some.
that boy burning to spend some money, huh?
I'm telling you.
Money was burning a hole in my pocket. And I was like, man.
Yeah.
And then that's what I was like, I was like, after my first year, that's when I was like, yo, fuck the designer stuff. You gonna see me in this Nike stuff I get for free, this Lululemon.
Hey man, that's what I'm talking about, boy. Yes, sir. That free 99. I love that.
And a huge thing that I learned about investment, you know, after a while and after, you know, having money, then not having money, then having money again and being smart about it the second time. The huge thing I learned about investments is you do not have to be in the forefront. You do not have to be the man. If you invest into a company, you don't have to send out a notification to all the blogs. I own this company now. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be the man. They don't have to know. Most of the people that own these companies, you've never seen them before. You never heard their name. You've heard of their CFO. You've heard of the people. You've heard of the people under the big guy. You've always heard of them because that's who really handling them business. But if you investing, you don't have to be in front of the camera every time they talk about it. You just do that. Also, you'll spread more. People don't need to know. There's some companies that I know I would have loved to be a part of, but when I heard who they had in charge and who was investing in, I was like, well, that's gonna be stupid. I don't want to do that. You know, like you broaden it. Like, just think of how many people, for some reason, and it's a lot, that don't like T-Pain. Just for no reason, just because it's the cool thing.
You don't like T-Pain music, bro. There's something wrong with your ears.
I will give you the login. I will give you the login to my Twitter, and I'll let you handle that.
Man, those are bots. Those are bots, bro. Those are not real people. I've started to understand that. Those are bots, bro.
I'm not sure, man.
Those are also people that are just projecting. That's all.
Yeah, it's mostly that.
And then hate because they don't have what you have. And
it's stuff like that. Let's say like we don't know why people don't like Nickelback, but if Nickelback invested in a company and it's a company we all like, we'd be like, well, that's the fucking end of that. Nobody wants to
T, I'll tell you why people don't like you, bro. Probably because you rhyme mansion with Wiscansin.
That's a big part of it. That's a big part of it.
And it slapped though. That's a big part though. That go hard.
The whole state has changed because of it. This is not great.
I mean, listen, on the streaming
front, mansions in Wisconsin.
On the streaming front, T-Pain, though, you are making waves with your freestyles. I have to admit that. Keisha, for you, you were able to really get more involved, like the tech companies and the tech side. Where are there opportunities of investments on this side, or where are there opportunities or avenues within tech that people should start paying attention to more? Because, we always talk about the cool things, right? It's always like, oh, let's talk about the cool things. But there are some things that don't look cool, but has so much opportunities for investment and so many opportunities for people to get into the industry. What are those opportunities?
Okay, look at it this way, right? So esports is a great example. Like, I'm not gonna say no one, but like as consumers, we were having fun with video games until we started hearing about millions of dollars being made in esports, right? But what we really need to think about is who makes the games. So like Epic and Riot and all of these huge companies that make these games that we all play, we scramble to play. Oh my God, if we ain't playing Valorant right now, we are not a real gamer. And it's a lot, but like, unlike real sports, Riot can change up League of Legends, add people to the roster, change the moves, change the world, change the environment. They control that and thus control the community of gamers that are a part of it. And that's a lot of control. And not only that, they, like, for example, Fortnite, you made the post today, it broke my heart. I'm just like, come on, Tim Sweeney. Oh, come on, Tim Sweeney. Like, no.
For context, he equated the Battle of Epic versus Apple to the Civil Rights Movement.
we ain't gonna get into that.
Yikes.
Too much. But don't think for a second that these companies aren't looking into the future for those emerging technologies that the next game is going to be on, and the next game, and the next game. They're already way past Valorant and Fortnite and all the games that we're playing right now. And they're using next generation graphics, next generation hardware. They've been trying to make esports in VR for the last 5 to 7 years. And it's actually pretty freaking good. And if there's anything that this pandemic has taught us, is that it's expedited our attention to emerging technologies, because we're all like, we want to go to a party, we want to see each other, we want to touch each other, we want to engage. And the only way we can do that safely is through technology. And gaming is the space in which that it makes that engagement fun and familiar. So I would suggest that for people who are looking for spaces to invest in outside of just esports, to definitely look at the transformative technology community, because those are all the individuals who are looking to not make human beings machines, but to enhance our own humanity through technology. Right, exactly. So like, what is going to make us superhuman? What is going to help us solve our everyday problems? What is going to, like we're talking about mental health is at an all-time, just super important topic right now. Mm-hmm. So, and again, gaming, all facets, all aspects of it. Like I said, not just esports. When we talk about esports, remember, that's like $2 billion. I mean, $2 billion in revenue generated, supposedly blow money, whatever. But the global video game industry makes over $150 billion, and that includes mobile, console, PC, VR, AR, and all the emerging technologies that are coming next. So I would suggest for anybody who's investing to look forward, because the video game industry is rapidly evolving. It's not going to take, 10 years. It's going to take 2 or 3 before you see the next iteration of the next huge thing. Absolutely. Like we already got like hyper realistic characters, digital humans. You guys seen Lil Michaela? That's mind blowing, right? And little Michaela is an influencer making millions of dollars with millions of followers made by the Unreal Engine, and people don't know about this. Like, we still want to be models and entertainers, and we can make that with video game graphics and artificial intelligence. So you might want to look into those spaces to invest in, because those are huge demographics of jobs that are going to be replaced by Skynet. So just.
Listen. If I could have some kind of character represent me and I can make money in my PJs, I'm all for that. Exactly. And also another thing too is esports, like you were saying, what people don't understand about esports is, it's the glitz and the glam, but there's really no return on investment when it comes to esports. There's a lot of money that's put into it, but their investors themselves aren't going to see that return anytime soon. It's going to be later, right? And even with some organizations, they're not even the plus margins, right? They're not even making profit. And that's just
most organizations.
Yeah. Pretty much. Let's just say all of them. Let's just say all of them. There's maybe like 1 or 2 that are actually in the plus margins, but the rest of them, nah. But part of that is because we still have to develop generational fandom. The same way that we see generational fandom when it comes to traditional sports, the same thing we have to see with esports. And even with that, there's so many different content is another landscape that we haven't even figured out entirely. And it's just so much that we need to build on. But like you said, the gaming industry as a whole is what drives everything. It drives the decision of esports. It's like, people literally freak out when there's a patch update before a tournament. They're like, bro, what is going on, right?
Absolutely.
And so there's so much opportunities in this space. Now, but with this panel though, I'm happy that we're all being straightforward, because the youth have to also understand what they're getting into. They see the glitz and glams, not just of music. They see the glitz and glams of sports. They see the glitz and glams of the music industry. They see the glitz and glams of everything, but they don't understand the work and the problems and the challenges and obstacles that come within this industry. And Nate, for you, not only are you getting involved in this scene, but you also have kids yourself. So how do you go about talking to, the youth, or how do you go about talking to your kids about like, hey, you can have a career in this space. but also having the mindset of letting them know, like, it's going to be challenging. You're a person of color, so that's all another challenge. You know, for your daughter, she's a woman, that's also another challenge. Like, how do you navigate that and kind of inspire them to get into space, but also have them be realistic about the business of this industry?
I just try to teach them, like, don't forget what's real and who you are. That's the main thing. My kids are gamers. My son streams. He does it all. He's the one that kind of got me moving towards doing the streaming and gaming. So I take my hat off to my middle son, Nael. He's a big time gamer. And, you know, he's already talking about wanting to try to create his own game. Like, he's already been, you know, talking about it. And that's good that it's already in his mind that he wants to, you know, do something different. Not just, I want to play video games, but he's now thinking about, you know, creating them. There's a game that they play a lot before they got into, like, the Fortnite. It was like, I think it's Minecraft or something, where you can, like, build worlds or something. He was building, like, he made a world, and it was unbelievable. And I was like, bro, how'd you make that? And he was like, oh man, you know, we do our games. It's like coding. It's a whole bunch of stuff they do in the game. So just to see his mind, you know, and my daughter now, she's in the game. She loves PS5, loves Fortnite, but trying to get them to see, like you said, the other side of it, being a creator, creating something that the world can play. Like, I told him, now that's cool. Like, it is cool to be, you know, gamer, or follow my Twitch, or, you know, watch me play and da-da-da. That's all fun and games. You know, it's you know, you're a part of that world. But if you want to be kind of like somebody that, you know, like, yo, I created this. This is what I created. Mm-hmm. And even if it's two people that bought it, like, you still created something that one other person has beside yourself. It's still successful.
Now, obviously, whether it is via the Pizzle Pack for you and how you're distributing music, whether it is via the social media influence and how you are redefining your brand, Nate, whether it's via the investments that you've been making, Josh and Keisha, whether it's via the diversity and inclusion and tech space that you've been pioneering in. My last question to you guys is, what does the future of esports and gaming look like? And what role are you going to be playing in it? I'm going to start with Keisha, and we're going to make our rounds.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's a hell of a question.
Right?
That was crazy.
I'm about to write mine down. Hold on, let me get my notes. Let me write my notes right quick. Hold on, give me a second.
Let me go last. I'm going to take a little bit of everybody.
Well, I do think that after a little bit more time passes, we are going to see technologies that combine your physical athleticism or your physical being with video games in a seamless way, whether it's using your phone for, you know, to know where your body is. Like, let's just say Pokemon Go times a million. You know what I'm saying? Like, that kind of technology is going to create a pathway to new types of sports and new types of engagement. And I'm really excited to see that, because right now the video game industry is like, esports has to be just like traditional athletics, traditional sports. Yeah. And it's like, you can make anything with computer-generated images, and you choose to make the same thing that has existed for the past century? Yeah. Like, how uncreative is that? Why would you want to just play basketball when you have a system that can create a whole universe of different types of engagements, right? Have you guys seen Destiny? Have you seen these games? Like, I am just, you know, I think that for the longest time, the gaming industry has just been siloed, and people haven't taken it seriously as a real industry. But now, since you follow in the money, and people are like, oh, there's money here, let's take it seriously, I think and hope and pray that we will see innovation, new ideas, inclusivity. And what the part I want to play in is making my own digital human and contributing to what the metaverse is going to look like. I am currently learning Unreal And I want to know what these people are talking about when they're talking about making games. I don't want to just be a consumer. I don't want to be a passive individual waiting for the world to happen to me. I'm tired of that, especially as a Black woman, especially as an American descendant of slaves. I am going to be a part of whatever's next. I'm going to be a part of the future. And there's just, in the video game industry, the sky is the limit. It's limitless. So it's like no excuse to not design the future that you want.
Amen to that.
So I don't know if you guys seen the movie called Ready Player One of my favorite movies of all time.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
Of course.
So that's why I see video games going. That's
Great
why
movie.
I'm hoping
Trash
that it gets to
writing.
that point, because
Thank you, T-Bang.
I couldn't imagine, like you said, me, retired player, being able to put on a suit like that and play any video game I want to play and actually feel like I'm literally in the game. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, they have haptic suits now. Like I actually got 2 haptic vests, things you put on your wrist, so when you get hit, you feel it. Like you can feel things.
Yeah, we need that. We
get
need
hit on your
that
back.
now
Like,
for
yeah, they got
2K,
haptic
for
suits.
Madden. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine playing a Street Fighter and I'm really actually moving and doing the movements of
Right.
that will be crazy. That would be like, that's when you have to really figure out what's reality and what's, you know what I'm saying,
For sure.
fiction and all that. So that's where I hope and that's where I see the games going. And then another thing is, you know, as in playing in 2K and being in the e-gaming sports now, when you're on the headsets, so many people, like a lot of my buddies, a lot of people that you don't know that you start to get, you know, you build relationships with when you're playing online. They're like, bro, you're a celebrity. You play basketball. You should talk to Ronnie. You should tell him to change this. You should tell.
Right.
So I be feeling like kind of the middleman with, and I'm like, I don't even have no say so. But to be able to talk to a guy like Ronnie and try to add and try to change things, try to tweak, and you know, when they change some things that they like, and it feels like we're getting across to them. So I can't wait to be able to be a person that really can make change in a video game and that can bring that to light for people and make them happier when it comes to crossing over video games to, you know, and crossing over to like the real people, as in, you know, bringing them together. I think that that's gonna be pretty cool to be able to do something like that in the near future.
I ain't trying to wear that suit with Mortal Kombat though. I just want to say that real quick.
Yeah,
Like that's
Not
like,
trying-
can you
no,
imagine
like,
getting hit with
I'm
something that
good
feels for
on
real?
Feel your ribcage coming out. You're like, oh, like, hey, nah.
Jesus
You know what I'm
Christ.
saying? Getting hit with one of them sonic uppercuts.
Yeah, nobody wants that. God damn.
And you mentioned Ready Player One. I hope that even though the technology might be there, I hope the world isn't. I don't want to be living in
I
no
want to be stacked up.
trailer home.
No, it won't be like that. I hope it won't be like that. I mean, you never
It's
know.
gonna be,
man.
we
All
already,
this
we already,
crazy
we
thing that
already
they're talking
got,
about now. But I hope not.
Listen,
we already
us
got
New York
trailer
people-
parks. Like they're gonna start try to make more space in trailer parks and just start stacking them up.
Man,
Pretty
us
much
New
what it
Yorkers
is.
are ready for that. We be living in closets right now anyway. We're ready for that life.
I think all right, so I can kind of see a transition happening at the moment to where the same way it's, you know, they see the glitz and glam of being a rapper and you know, an athlete and things like that, these kids that are growing up, and I feel like, and I can kind of see in the near future, it's going to be cool as shit to be a software engineer. It's going to be cool as shit as somebody that knows code. It's going to be cool as fuck to say, oh, you the motherfucker that made that game. Like this is not gonna.
Facts.
It's gonna be, and it's gonna be, you know, more inclusive for every race. And like, so when you hear the word gamer, you don't think of an Asian kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not gonna be.
Dead ass.
It's that. It's not gonna be just the white kid that hang with the Asian kid. It's not just gonna be that. And that's literally what. Like, you can search the word gamer. You can Google the word gamer right now. That's exactly what's coming up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's hard to speak on the amount, but I know it's starting to move that way. Even with my kids are gamers. All throughout the house, we got gaming setups everywhere. We got at least how many we got now? Oh my god, we just got some more. We got 9 PCs in my house, just downstairs, just gaming PCs. We got 9 gaming PCs.
Got a
We
LAN
got every
center in your
console.
house.
Yeah, he does for sure.
Well,
You got a LAN center, TP, in your house.
we going crazy. We're the first people on our block because we demand it so much, and not because we verbally demand it, but they can see the data activity going on. We're the first people within a 1 mile radius of my house to get fiber, because they're just like, guys, you're pulling too much. you're killing the rest of the neighborhood. You're doing too much. But no, like there's things like that. Like even when my kids see new games come out, they're like, oh, they're not saying, oh shit, I can't wait to play that game. My daughter's like, oh my God, look at those hair physics. So I got her signed up for Unity classes. I got her signed up for things like that, and she's doing artwork for games. She's doing everything. She's we got her to Surface Studio. She's doing artwork all over the place. She's running everything in here. Now my son is always like, man, those physics, the algorithm of the when he's on his phone, like there's something messed up with this game. It's not broken, but I feel like they could have coded this different and it would have worked. Like my kids think a different level of it because I've been looking into it for so long, and now they know the backgrounds of things. But I can see that kids nowadays, you know how we what years was that? Like 2008, 2009, where everybody wanted to dress as a nerd, but they were just getting picked on. So I feel like it's got. So I can see the transition happening to where just as much as our generation wanted to be rappers and and athletes and stuff like that, these kids and these new generations are going to want to be coders, programmers, software engineers, and things of that nature. That's where I'm seeing it going. That's where I see the future going, and the way I'm going to be involved is I already did it. I had kids. So
Hey, I feel you.
Facts.
Josh, what about you? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, like
Keisha,
T-Pain, and Nate said.
He said he was gonna do this.
Follow that cab.
Yeah, I'm gonna just piggyback on that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, for the future gaming, I mean, I really have no idea, and I think that's the beauty of it, just because there's so much space to grow. It's growing so rapidly, and just at an amazing pace that there's just so many things to do, and I think that's the beauty of it because you're able to just kind of do anything, and I think that's the perfect thing. Like for basketball, if you wanted to be a basketball, it's high school, varsity, college, make it to the league. Like it's one way, it's one path, or go overseas or come back. Like that's like really the only path. But for gaming, there's no path. You can kind of make your way and kind of do it how you want to do it. So that's that. I'm gonna go with that for the future because I really have no idea. In terms of where I want to do and see myself doing it. Just kind of continuing on the investment side. Obviously, I got a day job that's pretty time demanding, so it's tough to do a lot of things around it. But I want to do that, but I also want to use some of the brands that I have partnerships with, and just kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier, and T-Pain mentioned it a couple of times, and just helping kids realize like there's other paths, like there's ways to get into the game and help them get into gaming because a lot of kids don't have PCs. A lot of kids don't have the money for consoles and stuff like that. So whether that's through my partnerships, Aaron, me and you, we'll turn the beast together. So that's something that we can do, is just kind of helping kids get access to to PCs or the consoles, or giving them access to being able to take coding classes and stuff like that, and get them to realize what they bring to the gaming community and how they can really monetize that and really build on that for themselves and just the next generation.
Facts. Trying to even the playing fields.
Exactly. That's what it is.
I'm excited too because gaming has opened up. Whether it's the kids from the suburbs, or the kids from the inner cities, or the projects, or the countryside, it's opened up their horizons to seeing so many different people, that everyone shares that commonality of their passion for gaming. And one of the things that I want to see, and it may take some time because it requires internet and servers, and we all know how internet here in the US. It's trash. But I hope it gets to a point where, for example, headset companies, right, will be able to play in other servers and play with people in other countries, and just by talking to our headset, it will translate it into the language that we have set.
Oh, that'd be lit.
To communicate with each other, and literally, language will not be a barrier, because language is kind of a barrier.
That actually exists already.
Oh, well, would be servers?
Not via servers, but the headsets. The headsets exist, and I covered it on T-Pain School of Business. But go ahead, it's a new company, Kickstarter, all that
Oh
stuff.
man, break it down. Go ahead.
What?
Get it
That's
out.
lit.
No,
I
it's
never heard that.
literally what it is. So basically, what I just to give a backstory on the whole thing, I start my day when I wake up. I open my phone. I check Twitter first to see if I'm canceled. Then I check Instagram. To see if anybody got a picture of me doing something crazy. And then I go to Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and I check out all that stuff. So we figured we'd make a TV show out of that, and we called it T-Pain School of Business, which I go around and check out a bunch of companies that I found on Kickstarter, and I just see what they do, what they're trying to bring to the industry. And one company literally had an earpiece. You put an earpiece in, and it's kind of like it's not like an AirPod. It's like an in-ear that musicians use. So it's kind of molded to your ear, kind of, and you can literally just walk around and hear
listen
people.
to what people translate everything.
It'll translate
What?
everything.
I need that.
So you can, so it comes with two. You have one, and you give whoever you're talking to one, and you guys can have a conversation in different languages. It's pretty damn cool. I'm not gonna lie.
T-Pain, you're gonna have to DM me the name of that company, bro.
I got you. Yeah, they took me.
Look, Josh,
All your answers, drop in
next
the
time I
chat
go
section
get
right
these
now.
toes
I got you.
Hey, he said next time you go get his toes done, they're gonna be hey, I know they talking about my ugly toes.
I know
They took me to a Chinese restaurant, man. I was they was like, don't speak English. To the the waitress stuff there. They was like, don't speak English, just go ahead, just go in. And it was like, Payne, don't try your worst Chinese. So they took me there, and it was seamless. It was just working. It was insane.
That's nuts.
That's
Okay,
it.
yeah.
Really well,
That's lit.
T-Pain, shit.
I'm gonna hook it up. Trust me, we're gonna get it. I gotta find the
send
link.
us some. We need those. Send me some.
Nice.
Josh is ready to invest right now.
Let's offline this though, because trust me, we got a whole conversation around that I'm sure all of us want to tap into. But there was so much information that was dropped today, and especially when it came to the convergence of culture and gaming and esports. And I know that everyone who's watching not only was entertained by our antics and our knowledge, but was also informed as well, which I think, hey, entertainment and information education, it can go hand in hand. So I'm very appreciative of you all. Keisha, T-Pain, Josh, Nate, thank you guys so much for being part of our panel today. And I hope that everyone else who's watching, you guys enjoyed the culture of esports and gaming panel. And we'll have more for you throughout the rest of ComplexLand, so make sure you tune in. Once again, I'm Erin Ashley Simon. Thank you all for stopping by.
Keisha for president.
Keisha for president.